Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Appreciate you guys tuning in. You would think I would have the liquor bottle tonight, but I do not. If it would have continued the way that it was going in the second period, when the Cats were just down 3 goals all the time, that might have been one where I have to open up the bottle. But strangely, I've been telling people who are texting me tonight, a lot of people are rats off a ship. I won't name names. I won't name the cowards. But the people who are texting, oddly the most confident I've ever been after a 5-3 loss. You know, McDavid, they call him McJesus. He really should be the McDevil. This dude is unholy, what he's able to do. He really went out there tonight and he tore the Cats a new ass. And that's just the facts of it. He was just an absolute monster for Edmonton. And, you know, just the way he toyed with Bobrovsky to get them up 3-0. But, I mean, you know, it's so fucking frustrating that, you know, back-to-back games, shorthanded goals, mirror images of each other. And it really felt like, you know, when the Cats got down 3-0, I'm like, is this ever going to stop? Like, it really just, at that moment, I was like, oh, no, like, have they really figured something out here? Like, are the Cats done? Are they broken? Well, because it just felt like they couldn't handle any pucks. Forecheck was dead, couldn't impose their will anymore. And that's the thing with the Cats, right? And McDavid is such a talent, and they have so much firepower in Edmonton, and that's what it's been warned about. But the Panthers have been able to really put the control and the clamps on these games every single time. And I really was like, in that moment, I'm just like, oh, I don't know, dude. And they got exactly what they needed to feel like what turned this game around that nearly led the Cats to a comeback, and I think really could put the dagger in this series. And that was, look, the Panthers needed somebody to really step up, and they needed specifically Matthew Tkachuk to arrive in this series. And he today, the biggest thing that could have come out of today's game is Chucky's awoke. You know, he is back, and it's not just him being an antagonist and, you know, getting people and poking the bear and just starting a kerfuffle. No, they needed a big time performance today from Chucky, and he was there. He was there to get them on the board. He was there to set up his teammates. He had the beautiful assist to Ekman Larson to make it 4-3. Matthew Tkachuk arriving in this series is absolutely, absolutely huge for Florida. I don't know where the hell he's been, but they needed him in a big way. And Paul Maurice could tell that things were a little bit dead. He told ESPN, you know, they did a little bit of a line shift. They're putting Carter Verhaeghe back with Barkey. They're trying to get Swaggy going. And he did have some looks today. I mean, nothing that was like too devastating, but he put a few on the net. Looked like he was trying to get himself back into this thing. And, yeah, I'm oddly confident. It's a weird thing. People say momentum doesn't matter in hockey. I know that they don't subscribe to that. I think that's a bunch of malarkey the way that this series has gone. This series you have felt the potent pendulum swing game to game, nearly period to period. But it's been like, oh, from the time the Cats had that onslaught in game 3 where they had all of Alberta shook and then held on for dear life with the save from Bobrovsky to keep it from getting tied up, it has felt like they have been on a downward trajectory. And after that Tkachuk goal where he arrives in this, everything seemed to change. Florida took control of the game. They were putting the puck on Skinner. They were getting themselves set up. They were dictating the terms of the game. And you got to credit Stuart Skinner. He was really good today. Some people are concerned about Bob. I know that in the on the broadcast they were saying he was looking a little shook by there in the end of the second period. I'm never shook by Sergei Bobrovsky. This is one man. If you want to talk about momentum not mattering, I do feel like he always has the ability to put the bad plays behind him. And I felt like he really did have a good third period. You know, he had a big play on a breakaway on a 4-on-4, a nice save to keep it equal. To keep the Cats within reach of a goal. And I think that Bob's going to play a lot better. I just thought that everybody tightened up after Matthew Tkachuk. Because, look, in a lot of ways, like, Barkov is the best all-around player, but Matthew Tkachuk is the heartbeat of the team in that, like, this identity that the Panthers have of everybody hating their guts and everybody just finding them to be a nuisance to play. He has infused a lot of that into Barkov, but he is the guy who makes that go. And so I was really relieved to see him show up tonight in a big way. Is there any way that they could slow down Connor McDavid? I don't know if there is. I mean, you're going to probably need top-notch Bob, just like you got early on in this series. You're going to have to avoid these situations where their power play has gotten a lot more potent. There's been some silly penalties that Florida's put out there. Their power play has been inept, and so inept that they're not only not scoring, but they're so inept that they're just giving up goals and giving up shorthanded goals left and right. So you're almost at the point where it's like, do you even want penalties from Edmonton at this point? Because it didn't seem like Florida could have any cohesion or put anything together. But man, it was a tough one today, especially when Tkachuk gets the goal to make it 3-1, and then it did feel very much like, all right, we got momentum, and Okposo goes out there. This dude loves a penalty, I'll tell you that much. Like, love the veteran presence, but Jesus, feels like he spends a lot of time in the box for the Cats. And you want to know what the worst feeling is, dude? Let me tell you about the worst feeling, right? The Cats, I'm sitting here on pins and needles, and I'm streaming this on ESPN Plus because my signal's a little wonky here for ABC. So I've been watching on ESPN Plus. I've been turning my phone off only to tweet my rat gifs. And immediately in the power buffering. I'm just like, it was good the whole time. I was like, what's this? Do you know what the worst feeling is like when that happens? You have to go back, reset your stupid app, go back into it, and I see it's 4-1. I'm just like, you mother kidding me? You kidding me? That's what you make me like. Thanks for saving me the heartbreak, but like the fact that I'm just like not there, present in that is just a killer. It was an absolute killer. But after that power play, the Cats are able to get on the kill. Much better. Just everything was better from the Panthers, and I do think that doing this, I'm not listening to Paul Maurice or anybody in the post game right now, but I imagine Paul Maurice, who had even a pretty positive message down 3-0. He just always cool as can be. I think he's gonna have this team settled down. I do definitely feel like they played up until the point where Tkachuk scores the goal, and I think that he is, the voice of the team, the guy who gets everybody revved up. They looked like they played deer in headlights, shook. Holy crap, we're this close to winning the championship. What do we do? Oh my God, we keep botching the easiest things on the ice. And I just felt like by the end of this game that those were the Panthers that I recognized, from basically middle of the second period on. It felt very much like, okay, the Cats are back. And I do feel good about their chances. I am not scared that they're going to do something that hasn't been done in, what do they say? This was in the 40s, so we're talking nearly 80 years. That hasn't been. I don't feel like that's going to happen. I'm very, very confident going into Friday night. I am. I think that this team had their heads up their asses a little bit. Certainly best player in the world's playing like the best player in the world, and they got to find some way to combat that. Because he's back-to-back games, 4 points from him. I mean, just he's been ridiculous, McDavid. He's chasing Wayne Gretzky as we go on, as this series extends. He's just incredible with what he's doing. It's been really a marvel to watch. And a lot of the histrionics, all the drama that had happened, and the high emotion of what had happened to Barkov earlier in the series seems like it's died down, and the Cats just got to execute, man. They got to execute the silly, dumb things that they're doing. You can't give Edmonton these opportunities because they already have a lot of firepower, and the Cats play. The Cats play clean. The Cats are going to have a great chance. So I'm not shook. I'm not shook yet. They're not only going to have to lose, they're going to have a really piss poor, awful performance for me to be sweating it. But I don't know. I feel like this has been a series where you felt momentum and things figured out. Now, it could flip on a dime in the midst of that Friday game, and maybe Edmonton will figure something else out. But I do feel like Florida getting the arrival of Tkachuk, having things cleaned up a little bit, I like their chances to get this done and break the hearts of Canada. My only other point tonight, Jack Nicklaus banging the drum. Adorable. Look, I was a critic of it. He didn't really bang the drum because the old aren't very good at banging drums, but he was adorable. He is an adorable old man, and I liked how they had like the little game up guy kind of counting for him as he was doing it. But let's keep it local, for next season, because I don't even want to deal with a game 7, but I was feeling froggy though, dude. When Oliver Ekman-Larsson converted that beautiful setup from Chucky, I was feeling froggy, and then Tkachuk looked like the Panthers were about to go on the power play. Chucky gets called for embellishment, and they go to the 4-on-4, which has been looking better for the Cats, but ideally, again, you want to keep these things pretty clean. They pulled Bob with like 2:30 left. And I would say probably the best look from there was a Reinhardt shot with about 1:38 left. And then Verhaeghe made this incredible save to just even keep it alive out of the empty net. He races, and he didn't even really do anything, to be honest with you. It was I'm thinking of Tkachuk. He's racing down, but it basically just hits the pipe, so it stayed alive. And then minute left, Tkachuk, he's racing down. He saves the empty netter again, right to Connor McDavid, who bangs it in and gets his second goal. So he gets to roll it on up there, dude, and get it going. He was awesome tonight. But I am confident that this thing, that the cup will be in the Cats' hands come Friday night, and we'll have a hell of a weekend ahead.